We're coming back again. Thank you for subscribing for my channel. When you go to YouTube, just write down Shaalan Aldoski, then all the video clip are there. Today we're going to have a new lesson about future tense. The future tense is used to describe an action expected to happen in a specific time in the future, with or without speaker's intention or prediction, expressing a spontaneous reaction, making promises, and assumption regarding the future. Future tense has two different forms in the English language: will plus infinitive with about 50% possibility to occur, and is, or plus going to, then infinitive, sometimes we say root of the verb, with a prior plan and commitment to occur. The use of the two forms expresses two different certainties of commitments about the action to take place. Simple future, there are some signal words we use it with the future. For example, tonight, in a year, month, week, or sometimes we say next, sometime tomorrow, the coming day, week, month, year, probably, sometime, perhaps. When do we use future simple or simple future? An action taking place in the future without the speaker's intention. For example, the summer will be over soon. An action expected to take place very soon. About to infinitive. For example, you could say the party is about to start. Then it could be an action is scheduled to happen. The plane is due to land at 9:15 a.m. Or you could say Sam will arrive at 9 a.m. on Monday. Could be spontaneous or voluntary actions. Not to worry, I will talk to him. A decided action to be done very soon. I will leave the party right now. Could be predicting or believing about the future. Sarah will win by a landslide in the coming municipal election. Or sometimes we have a predictable behavior or habit. My son will fall asleep as soon as I put him to bed. Making an offer or promises or warning. The administration will have your registration papers ready in no time. An action cannot be influenced. It will snow tomorrow. Or could be having a plan or intending to do something. The professor is going to see you today at 10 a.m. Definite signs or evidence that an event is going to take place. I just discovered a fire, so I'm going to set the fire alarm. Or could be an immediate event to take place. The exam is going to start in less than 5 minutes. Expressing hope, expectations, fears, offers, promises, or refusal in the future. Using future time, using keywords of sure, believe, expect, suppose, expect, promise, fear, wonder, worry, perhaps, afraid, surely, maybe, probably. How we make future simple? The good thing about future simple or simple future, then all the pronoun I, he, she, it, they, we, you, and any plural noun, we use will. Then with will, we use the root of the verb. The rule we say here, no ed, no s, no ing with the verb after will. For example, we say, he will help Sardar. Sometimes we say, sometimes in English, British usually, they use sometimes shall is subsidized by will in an indication for future action. We have two kinds of future we said, one of them with will plus the root of the verb. You have to remember here, no ed, no es or s or ing, just root of the verb. The second kind of future we say with commitment or with a plan. For example, we have the pronoun I, usually we could say I am going to. Then we have this, we call them with the commitment. Same thing with the root of the verb. If you look here, this is the verb with no ed, with no s, with no ing. Then we have the object. And then here with he, she, it is my subject. It's one of those. Then I'm going to use is as auxiliary verb. Then going to, indication for the future. Then adding the root of the verb with no s, with no ed, with no ing. Then the third one, any subject of those. They, we, you, plural, we use are. Then going to, then root of the verb, then the object. How we structure simple future? Number one, using will with infinitive verb. What's the verb? Sometimes we say will plus root of the verb. Formation future tense using will plus the root of the verb does not change whether the subject is singular. Here is very important to realize if the subject is singular or plural. The same will be will and then the root of the verb. For example, Sam will study in the College of Medicine next year. If we look here, we see the subject is singular, Sam. Then will we use it for the future? Then we have the root of the verb here. Okay, let's go to the second one. The concert will start at 6 p.m. on next Monday. Then if we look here, same thing. They will be at the party in 1 hour. Same thing, we have the subject. Doesn't matter if the subject changes. The will be same. If you look all of three. And then the root of the verb, same thing, is no change. No ed, no es or s or ing. Okay. The second thing we said, we make future using an expression of prior plan. If somebody has commitment or did something before, going to do the action in the future. We use is, or, then plus ing form we use it. Or sometimes we talking about what the future happen. Like say sometimes you could use was or were going to. If we talk about with something like we say going before the future, talking about something happened in the future, then we use was or were. Same thing with going to plus the root of the verb. For example, using is or plus going to plus root of the verb. I am going to, then assist, that the root of the verb. Then for example, Azad is going to work on the graduation project tonight. If you look here, Shan and Sarah are going to face countless challenges in the competition. Sometimes we say use was or were. Let's see how we use it. I was going to help Sam on his homework, but I changed my mind not to. It means something. We talk about the future, action to take in the future, then we change it in the future, then we talk about they said I was going to help him, but I was not. Let's go to the second one. We were going to visit my aunt's family, but unfortunately they came to visit us. Okay, that's how we talk about the future. Then from the far future we talk about the near future. Then we sometimes we said in the past of the future. Okay, using present progressive, is or plus ing, indication for the future intent and defined to take place. For example, sometimes we use something like we call them present continue, mentioning that something is going to happen in the future. For example, Sardar is flying to Paris next week. The differences between this sentences as a present progressive or present continue. Let's say if I don't have this, let's say for example I don't have this time frame of adverb of time, it's going to be future, it's not going to be future continue, it's going to be present continue. But adding the sentences as it is before, like say having this time frame, it make my sentences, yes, it's present continue, but things is gonna happen in the future. It means starting from now and then continuing to the future. For example, the second one, they are coming home tomorrow. Okay, that's this tomorrow. It make my sentences to take a place in the future. Sometimes we use simple present, have has indication to future time. For example, I have a doctor appointment tomorrow at 4 p.m. It may not now, will be tomorrow my appointment will take place. The other reason we say simple present. Or sometimes we say Sarah has a final exam next week. This next week indication this is what happened in the future. Or sometimes we use we say using is or plus to then infinitive or verb indication to future time. For example, our train is, if you look here, is to leave the station at 9:15 a.m. It means definitely this action take place before 9:15. It means we're talking about the future time when it's happened. Sometimes we could use using would like, plan, want, mean, hope, expect to indicate about a future. For example, we would like to invite you to our wedding party next week. The important with the future, we have to have the adverb of time tell me when it's happened. For example, if you look here, we would, this is my would, then we have like, that's the root of the verb, then we have infinitive. If we go to the second sentences, the principal wants, that's the simple present, but here we have infinitive, and then we have the root, we call the infinitive to see you after the class. It means after the class, it tells me the action is going to happen in the future. We hope to meet again in the company coming general meeting. You see, general meeting means the next time. Uncertain about the future model may, might, could, might be used to indicate about future time. For example, we might go, see here, we might go to the party tonight. I mean, the action will take place tonight. That means after time. Sam could babysit your kids tomorrow. As we said it, sometimes we should is used when there is some certainty that the event will happen. The debate should start in 1 hour. Okay, here indication to the future, and then we have should, and then we have the root of the verb. Okay, let's say how we express about 50% of action would take place. For example, we have subject, then will, then the root of the verb with no ed, no s, no ing. Then we have the object. Then we say he will speak to the student. Subject, will, root of the verb, then complement. Then we make a question. We simply take will or the auxiliary verb, just place it in front of the subject. Will he speak to the student? Then you put question mark. Then if we make a negative, then it's easy. Just put not after the auxiliary verb of will. Then we say he will not speak to the student. If we look to the sentences, Sarah and Shan will have a test. Then same thing with the question, just take will in front of the subject. We say, will Sarah and Shan have a test? Then we make negative, it's easy. Just put not after the auxiliary verb. Contraction of will, or sometimes we say will not. Same thing. He will not speak to the student. Then we could just take out wi and then we put comma. We make those two as acting as one word. We usually use this when we speak. He'll not speak to the student. This is one kind of contraction, or we could make it like this. He won't speak to the student. Usually we use this kind when we speak. He won't. Okay, let's look to this. I will not defend your case. Same thing. I'll not defend your case. Then I won't defend your case. The difference is only here when we have not separate. It means the attitude of the speaker is a little maybe putting more stress, and then maybe is not happy with the situation. That's the reason we make it separate. Let's go to this. Sarah and Shan will not have a test. Sarah and Shan will not have a test. Sarah and Shan won't have a test. Okay. Sometimes we have a pledge in advance for activity to take place. It's obligated to use going to. If you have a plan before an action, you do it. For a commitment or pledge to take place, we say 100% is going to happen. We have a future simple, amo, is, or, then plus going to, then the root of the verb. Okay, let's look here. The party is going to. This is tell me this is in the future. To start soon. If we make a short answer question, say, is the party going to start soon? Then question mark. Sometimes make a negative, the party is not going to start soon. Another question, another sentence, sorry. They are going to do your work. Question, are they going to do your work? Then you could say yes they are, or no they are not. Same thing here. We say yes the party is going to start, or No, the party is not going to start. They are not going to do your work. We have these sentences. Hela and Anna are going to help you. Then we say, are Hela and Anna going to help you? Then we say, yes, they are. We could say, yes, Hela and Anna are going to. Or you say, no, Hela and Anna are not going to. Hela and Anna are not going to help you. Contraction with amo is or when we have not going to. For example, she is not going to defend you. She's not going to defend you, or she isn't going to defend you. We say the difference is here, then the attitude of the speaker, that's the only difference, and there is no another differences. We are not going to assist you. We're not going to assist you. Then we say we aren't going to assist you. That's how we to make a contraction. For future progressive, then we have to add ing form to the verb. We have it here. We say future progressive is used to describe an action continued for a period of time in the future, or periods in a future time. This action might take place in a course of reoccurring in the future. For example, future progressive or continuous, sometimes we say use an action take place in the future time, continuing for a period time in the future. The professor will be lecturing from 9 to 11 a.m. in the coming weeks. You see here, coming weeks, they tell me the future. And then if we look here, we have the subject, then we have will. We said after will, we will have the root of the verb. That's we have it here, which is will be is. But sometimes if you remember, we said amo is the or, then we switch it with be. This be is like here we say, then we say lecturing is the continue. If we look to the sentences here, let me copy it, then we make it better, clear. Then we know how we got be from here. If we look here, until if we don't have this part, this is, we call them future simple. And if we take this will out, then we say the professor be lecturing from 9 to 11 a.m. in the coming week. It means it's gonna tell me a continuing. But I cannot have is here, which is supposed to switch it with be. That's the reason I put be here instead of s. Okay, that means saying here we have it both. We have it future simple and then continue. Then we're gonna say future continuing. That's the reason we say the professor will be lecturing from 9 to 11 a.m. in the coming weeks. How we structure future continue? Using will model with the root of the verb and gerund. That we say will, root, and then verb, and then we gerund, we say ing form to express an action will be in progress in the future for indicate period of time. For example, Sarah will be studying chemistry for 2 semesters next year. Tell me next year, not now. Then the movie will be showing at 6 p.m. every Monday in the coming 2 months. Okay? The second kind of future continue using be verb with going to, then plus a gerund, then we say amo is or going to plus the root of the verb, then gerund. For example, express a commitment and planned action to be continued for an indicated time to be taking place in the future. For example, I am going to be. If you look until here, this is future simple, but I have it here teaching. It tell me something is gonna take place for a period of time in the future. For example, if you look here again, I'm going to be, this is simple future. Then I have teaching, tell me continuation of something. Then we say I am going to be teaching between 8 and 11 a.m. every day over the next 2 months. Okay? Let's continue with the future progressive. Pronoun, will or shall, sometimes called a model. Then auxiliary, that's because here we have the auxiliary be, or am, or is, or are. Then we switch it with be. Then we have ing form, for example. You could say, I will be helping him next week. Then here, I will be helping him next week. Then I know this action, when the helping will take place next week. And then maybe next week for 2 hours. Okay? Here we know the helping will be 2 hours and then continue for 2 hours and then take place in next week. Then we say subject plus will plus be, which is substitution of am or is or was or were. Then we have ing form, helping. Then we have time frame. The second kind we call them, we have pronoun, I, there will be am. Then we have going to. Then we have be. Then we have the gerund. For example, I am going to be lecturing maybe for 2 weeks next year. Okay? It means the lecturing will start for 2 weeks, continue for 2 weeks, but when will be next year. Same thing here, if we have he or she or it, we're going to use is. He is going to be lecturing maybe for 2 weeks next year. Then we have they, we, you, and then plural noun are going to be lecturing. Okay? How we construct, let's say here how we constructed future progressive or continue. If you remember, we said am or is or equal be, then we switch sometime vice versa. For example, if I have this future simple, future sentences, Azad will travel to Erbil next week. Progressive, we say here present progressive, Azad is traveling to Erbil next week. How are we gonna make a future progressive? I have to mix this sentences with this. Those 2 sentences, I have to make them 1 sentences. That's the reason we say future progressive or future continue. Azad, if you look here, Azad will be traveling to Erbil next week at this time. This is of here. We switch it to with be. That's the reason we got be, this be from this is. Or you can say here, then we delete this is. That's the reason we put in between 2 brackets, and only to know there was is here, we switch it to be. Then we say Azad will be traveling to Erbil next week at this time. Let's do one more. Same thing, Zana is going to travel to Erbil tomorrow. Same thing, Zana is traveling to Erbil tomorrow. It means it continuing, like for that when we say, look, Zana is traveling to Erbil tomorrow. Then we're gonna make something. Zana is going to be, this is B, this is from here. Then because we substitute with B, then we don't need anymore. Then we say Zana is going to be traveling to be tomorrow currently. I mean he's going now. And then sometimes we have police, then it acts as a plural. The police are going to search for new evidence, simple future. Then we have continue progressive, or you could say present progressive. The police are searching for new evidence. Then make it future progressive. Then you say the police are going to be, this, if you look here, are going to, this is sign of future. Then I have root of the verb, which is are, but we switch it here to be. Then we could add it, continue. We say the police are going to be searching for new evidence. Okay, let's continue with future progressive. Here we say Sam will be lecturing tomorrow from 9 to 10 a.m. Or you could say I will be reading a novel for you between 2 to 3 p.m. every Monday. They will be taking a rest in their journey every 4 hours starting next week. Sarah and Shan will be working every second week in the coming year. There's a I'm going to be writing a letter, writing you a letter, or writing a letter to you. The same thing. It's difference only between British English and American English. British English, they're gonna say I am going to be writing to you a letter, or sometimes you're gonna say I'm going to be writing a letter to you. It's the same thing. American English, we say I'm going to be writing you a letter at this time every week, starting maybe from tomorrow. Sam is going to be practicing on the piano every afternoon in the coming weeks. They are going to be dancing from 1 to 4 p.m. in this studio every Sunday. So we have time clause when we use it with the future. Then sometimes we make some contraction, make it shorter. There are some rules. If we have the same subject in both time clause and independent sentences, it is possible to omit the subject and the auxiliary verb of the time clause and change the verb into gerund ing form. Let's look here. When the bride and groom arrive, the celebration will start. But here we have the subject here, the bride and groom, but here we have different subject. That is we cannot make contraction. But look here. While I am attending the university next year, I am going to use the public transportation every day, because both of them, they have same subject, which is I. If you look here, we have I, and same thing we have here, I. Then we could contract it. We say while, we're gonna delete those two, then we're gonna say attending. That's how it's happened. Okay, then we say while attending the university next year, I'm going to use the public transportation every day. Let's go to the second sentences. After you register your name on the list, we will give you a call. Here I cannot make contraction because I have two different subjects. You, I have it first for the with the time clause, but the second one we have we, the two different subject. Down there is I cannot. Or we could make this one different thing. We could say we will give you a call after you register your name on the list. Here, because I have the time clause, sometimes we say dependent sentences, and this is independent sentences, then I have to separate them, spell them by comma. If I have the time clause inside the sentences, I don't need to put comma here. That then say we will give you a call after you register your name on the list. And look here. After you register your name on the list tomorrow, you are obliged to attend the class. I have the same subject here. If you look here, the first you and then the second you, then I could make it contraction. I could delete you here from here. But when I delete you from here, I cannot leave the verb like this. Then I have to change this verb to something we call them gerund or ing. Then I have to add ing here. Then I'm going to say after registering your name on the list tomorrow, you are obliged to attend the class. If you look here, Sam will sign the contract before he starts his vacation. If you look to here, because here I didn't put comma, because here we said that the time clause, if it comes in the second sentence or the center of the sentences, we don't need to put comma. But if I put it here like this, but here I could delete he because it's the same Sam, know about him. Then I could say before starting his vacation. Then I'm gonna make this ing form. They say Sam will sign the contract before starting his vacation. And also I could, if I have a sentences like this, if you remember we said it, then if I take this part to come here, then I have to put comma, which separating the two, the time clause and the independent sentences. Before he starts his vacation, comma, Sam will sign the contract. But I cannot say here, if I have sentences like this, I could delete only he. You could say before starting his vacation, Sam will sign the contract. But if we have the same sentences, like here, I cannot delete this. Then I say signing. Before he starts his vacation, signing the contract. We don't know what's going on, who is signing contract, and then that's the reason only we could make contraction, delete the subject and the change in the verb only with the time clause, only this side, not this side. Okay, this is very important to know before you do any contraction. Thank you very much. Keep in touch. Then the next class will be about present perfect.